Hi, I'm Purple, and I just realized that I make a lot of crafts. Now, when I say I do a lot of crafts, I mean something different than my comic, which you can check out here, or my original artwork, which you can check out here. Since most of the crafts I do are relatively simple and you can actually just do at home with stuff that you have, I figured, hey, I have a YouTube channel that I post speed paints on. Why don't I make a tutorial on how to make fun little guys like I do? Now this project is actually pretty simple and you only need a few things to do it. In this video, I'm going to tell you how to make something that I call an art doll, which is essentially just a little stuffed animal that is mixed with clay that you can make into pretty much anything that you want. You can use whatever you find around, whether it's an old t-shirt or some cloth that your grandma gave you a million years ago and you never got to use. Now I have this magical power that I can just make a pattern for anything that I want as I can just see it in my mind. Here's the pattern so you can follow it at home with dimensions. I hope it is detailed enough. I just don't really need measurements whenever I do it because it comes straight out of my head. You're going to start out with your 5 pieces of this head shape. Now I use white cloth. You can use whatever you have lying around. If you look at the sides, you're going to line them up right next to each other and you're going to sew each side together. Remember, when you're sewing, you want to sew it inside out so that when you flip it right side out before you fill it, you can't see the stitches on the seams. Once you've done that, you're going to almost sew it shut, stop, flip it right side out, and then you're going to put your stuffing in it. Then you're going to realize you ran out of stuffing, so you're going to go to the store, ask for the polyfill, then take you to that same aisle you looked at, and it not be there. So you end up buying fake snow for dioramas. I'm not at all mad about this. Once you fill it, you're going to sew it all the way shut. You should have some kind of sphere that should look like a head. Now for the body, it's just these 2 heart-shaped pieces that you're going to sew outside to outside together and then flip it out before you finish sewing it. Then you're going to stuff it with whatever stuffing choice you have available. Sewing that shut will mean that you have just finished the base body and the hardest part of this entire project. Now, I ended up making 5 little bases because this was going to be something that I was going to do with some friends. This next part is where you get to customize it as much as you want. All you need is some form of clay. I ended up sculpting a little face, paws, and tail for this little jester dog that I had a plan for. I always recommend planning out what you're going to do beforehand so that you don't feel lost later. I just use a sheet of paper. As you can see, my friend also did this, and they made some pretty cool bases for their things. I like these art dolls so much, they're so versatile. You'll see the stark contrast between me and some of my friends at the end, and I just think it's so funny how different these things can be starting from one base. Once you're done sculpting, you're going to put your clay into the oven and bake it. And take it out once you've finished baking it for the allotted amount of time. Yeah, I usually sand my clay pieces because sometimes you get your little fingerprints in the clay and it just makes it look a little bit off. While my clay pieces were in the oven, I started painting onto the body because I wanted to add a little bit more personality to my project. Keep in mind, I'm using acrylic paint onto fabric, and sometimes that can be a little bit tedious. It'll crack and then it'll look bad, but I mixed it with some Dawn dish soap, and if you actually mix that, it makes a pretty good cloth paint and it won't crack. Looking back at my plan, I started painting my clay pieces to finish my little guy. Or if you're adding a clear coat on top, make sure to sand it off of the portion that you are hot gluing onto your base. If it's too slick, it just won't stick and it'll come right off. Just remember, hot glue needs a textured surface to stick on. Now if you have extra things like cloth or beads, you can actually start making accessories for your little art dolls. I end up making this really aggressive choker that has a bunch of different colored beads on it out of some old lace that I had. If you do want to try to make a little collar like this is how you'll do it. I had this multi-pack of beads and just took random ones, started lacing them onto the lace. Once I was finished with that, I put some hot glue on the last bead and glued it to the lace so that none of the beads would come off in the future. Now it's time to put it together. All you gotta do is take some hot glue and glue your pieces where they're supposed to go on your doll. Once you're finished with that, you did it! You have a really cool art doll now, and you get to show it off and tell people that you made it from scratch. I can't express how happy I am with how mine turned out. This is exactly how I wanted it to be, and maybe it's a little bit dopey, but I'm going to show everyone my son. He's so amazing. And you get to make something like this too, however you want it to look. These were the final results. I think it's so cool how much diversity you can get from just one base, and you can see all these different possibilities. So, however you want to make it, just start with one base and customize it all you want, and there you go, you got your own art doll. That was the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want more videos like this, please let me know. I'd be happy to do them. I do crafts on a daily basis. If you liked it, please give a like and leave a comment. I love constructive criticism, and I can answer any questions that you have about the project. If you like Deltarune, please check out my comic. And if you like just art in general, check out my art page. And know that I do have a comic coming in the future that is original that I'm really excited about. If you want updates on that, they'll be coming out soon. Enjoy your art, doll, and have a blessed day. Bye!